How's it going, guys? Welcome back. I'm Tier 1 Collections. Today in this video, I'm going to explain exactly how, once you get your graded cards back, how to sell them effectively.
I'm the MVP. Now I feel like Russell. Feel like John Morant. Need a triple-double. Told him check the stats. Yeah, I got a couple.
Alright, guys. So once you get your grades back, depending on how you want to reveal the grades to yourself, if you do it online, whatever, the way you want to list them on eBay is you want to grab these scans from PSA. They're super high-res scans. You want to just save, right-click on them, hit Save Image As, save it to your desktop, save it wherever you want. And then once you do that, then we can head over to eBay. Alright, so once you have those scans taken from PSA's website, you're going to go over to eBay. We are going to, I'm just going to use Nidoking from Destined Rivals as an example here. I'm going to grab this, do PSA 10. And we're going to find a listing from a reputable source, one that looks pretty good. This one's from the PSA vault, so I'm going to grab this one. PSA has good listings usually. So I'm going to grab this and then I'm going to scroll down to here where it says sell now. This way, doing it this way means that you don't have to basically type in all the admin information of it. If you have the exact same card and it's the exact same grade, I mean, even if it is not the same grade, you can change the grade in the listing and it's super easy. This way you don't have to input all the set info and everything like that, and it makes your stuff more discoverable on the eBay app. So it'll bring you to this screen. Once you do that, you're going to go ahead and upload your pictures that you got from PSA. You want to make sure that you take the front one first, and then you want to do the back as well. I also like to put PSA 10 at the front, just because I've had some confusion in the past of people just really not knowing what graded cards is. Mind you, a lot of people are on eBay all across the world. So just making it pretty well known that it's a PSA 10, it makes it easier. Depending on how much feedback you have and what basically level your account is at, again, just being upfront and letting everyone know that it is a PSA 10 or a PSA 9 or whatever it is, that it is a graded card, it definitely helps just to eliminate the confusion. So I just double check this stuff. It's usually fine. But then the main thing you want to do here is you can't post until you do this. You want to click professionally graded, obviously, and it's really slow. And then you click the grader is PSA, and then you'll select the grade. I don't enter the cert number, usually, but then you select 10. Boom. So when you get to the point where it comes to pricing, this is the way that I price my cards. So we're just gonna go Nidoking Destined Rivals PSA 10, and we're gonna look at some of the sold listings right here. So the sold listings for this card, we have 385. That was yesterday. 400 yesterday, 380 yesterday, 350 2 days ago, 380, 370, 385, 375. Okay, this was an anomaly. This might have been just a buy now because there wasn't any listed lower. Okay, so I would say the market price is around 370, 375, pretty conservatively. And then what I do is I go and look at what's up. Depending on the speed in which you want to sell something, if you want the max amount, you're probably gonna want to put it at buy now, but it probably will not sell that quickly. So if I wanted to, I could list this up for 375. It looks like there's one here, up for 375. Let's just go ahead and do max 375. We'll filter by price. So these are on bid. You just want to see if there's any buy nows at that price. So we have one in the UK, but shipping's insane. Okay. So I think if we listed this up for 375, I'm actually not going to sell this card. I'm just using it as an example. If you want to sit on it, eBay does give you a good sales data right here. It's not always accurate, and I really wouldn't go with it. What I would do is, if you are okay with sitting on this, is put this up for like $395 or $399, and you put it at buy now, and then you put your minimum offer amount to like $340. I tend to put the offer lower because people do lowball a lot on eBay. I'm sure we all do it. We've all done it before. But sometimes just having it auto decline when there's a number in mind that you want, it's better to get the offer in there and then to be able to counter them. What I specifically do is if I receive an offer on an item, I don't immediately counter offer. I message the user and be like, hey, would you be willing, say they offered me 355, and I'd be like, hey, would you be able to do 370? Depending on how quickly I wanted to move this thing, right? The other option is when you if you want to sell it quickly, and this is typically what I do, is if I really wanted to sell this quickly, I would put it at 375 buy now. Um, the other option is you can do an auction. If you really wanted to sell it like day of, then you should just do buy now and just make sure it's the lowest listed on there. If it's a popular card like this, it will probably go like this. So what I would always do is auction duration is 7 days. The reason for that is visibility. You want as many people to see it and as many people to see that they have the ability to get this card for cheaper as possible, right? If you do it for one day, not enough people are going to see it. Not enough people are going to. There's not going to be enough traffic at your listing. So always do it at 7 days. The optimal time to list in the week is on Sunday. What I typically do is anytime between noon and about 7 p.m. It'll change a little bit based on your local time, but around that time, I would just say 5 p.m. wherever you are on Sundays is the best time to list. For something like this, this is actually a pretty solid recommended starting bid that eBay's giving. What I was gonna say is if this would be the lowest buy now, you basically give people the opportunity. You're $10 lower than the cheapest card listed up. I think there was one other one at 375. That's okay. A lot of people are buying this card at the moment. What I would do then is go here, and I would probably start this at 150 at bid. And I've had as it gets closer to the end of the auction cycle at the end of the 7 days, this buy now will go away. So I've had a lot of things that people didn't buy now for the cheaper price early on, and then the bid actually outperformed the buy now price. So that's a tip. The reason why you want to start it lower is don't be concerned. I get a lot of people saying that they're very concerned about their listings going for $150 when this is at least double that price. The thing that you have to worry about is it's not that. As long as it's up for 7 days and 150, the card is gonna go for 350 probably minimum. It's not as scary as you might think that it is. The reason that you want to start it lower, you don't want to start this at 350, and the reason for that is that not enough people are going to watch the item. If you put this at 150, everybody who sees it is like, oh, I can get Nidoking PSA 10 from Destined Rivals for 150 at the moment, right? And you got to think about the psychological effect that it does to people. So what you want them to do is watch your listings, right? You want to start it low enough, maybe half the price is generally what I do, depending on the card. I would say around these, like in the same price range as this, is pretty solid to just do 150. You don't want to start at 99 cents. You don't want to be that guy that has to cancel or something because something went wrong with the listing or whatever. Just start at half the price. This will not go for $150. You'll probably get a bid the day of somebody who max bids 300, but you're gonna get a lot more people watching your listings that are gonna get notifications and stuff like that when it's coming time. So as long as you're getting that traffic, that's where you want that competition to take place on the last hour or so of this auction cycle, so that it goes for obviously as much as possible. Okay, that's eBay. I'm gonna move on to the next one. Okay, so the other thing that I do here is, this is pretty obvious, but if you don't already have a card Instagram, you should make one. It's free, it's super easy to do, and you really don't bog yourself down. You're not embarrassed of your personal stuff, but it keeps it separate. People tend to follow accounts that have similar interests, right? And there's so many card Instagrams out there, from people who have a business or people that just do it casually, who just enjoy looking at cardboard. You don't need to post on your card. I mean, as I would say, post a few things just so you have a backlog of stuff. But specifically, you can start doing deals on Instagram. The reason that this is beneficial is everybody knows about eBay fees. eBay fees are ridiculous, but eBay auctions tend to go for the market price, and that's why you typically use eBay sold listings as setting that market price. The reason why you can sell something on Instagram, it's super nice because, one, the buyer doesn't pay tax, and two, you don't lose the fees. So for something like this, if I were to sell this card, and I actually have a good example of a Garchomp from the same set, and I can prove that it was it was actually in the same submission. I sold this on Instagram, this Garchomp. I actually kept the Nidoking, and I sold this Reshiram on eBay. But it actually jumped up a little bit in price, so it's a little bit off. But around the time I was asking for $575 on Instagram. Why is that, right? Because if we do the math here on, so say I did sell Garchomp for 600 on eBay, right? And we do the math here, I'm actually gonna get only $510 paid out. And I have early payout on eBay because I have 100% feedback and I've been doing it for a while. So I would get this immediately from eBay and that's fine, but I actually would get less. So what I ended up doing is that I post pretty much everything that I'm willing to sell on my Instagram story at least once or twice before I list them up on eBay. What I ended up doing was I listed up for $575. One, because you kind of have to think about it this way too, because generally speaking, it's about 9% tax on average. So you want to multiply this by 0.09. So, you want to multiply this by 1.09 times 1.09. So that would be the tax, right? And then you probably add like, we'll just say it's $660 with shipping. That's what the buyer would pay for this card on eBay, right? This card right here from Z&G Emporium. Now, I was offering $575 free shipping, so it's basically $100 off for the buyer, right? And they PayPal friends and family. Now, I ended up selling it for $550 friends and family, and I paid for shipping. It was about $6. So I made, minus $6, we'll say, for shipping, and then minus, what am I doing? Minus $510. So I actually made $34 extra by selling this on Instagram. On top of that, I built another client, somebody that I had never sold to him before, and that's something that you want to continue to do. You want to just post your stuff out there, follow people, get your name out there, build credibility for your brand. Even if it is just your name, even if it's just a personal account, people trust you as it goes on. And even if it was goods and services, 3% is significantly better than about 15, 14%. From eBay fees. So take the shot, do it. It's not always the most effective, and not if you don't have a ton of followers. Like I don't even have that many. I think I have 3,000 around there on Instagram, but I've been doing it for so long. I have regulars that will reach out to me who I've made sales with before, and I always fairly price my stuff. I always look it up on eBay. I'd be like, hey, this is 600. I'm gonna beat the market price on Instagram. And people know that, so they much rather, and if they want this card, they're gonna go buy it from me on Instagram than they will on eBay. So that's another tip that you can do to avoid eBay fees. Now, something you want to do is look at the liquidity of the card that you're holding, right? So let's go look at my PSA to get an idea of what I'm talking about here. So this is a bulk submission I just got back. I didn't make a video on this one because it wasn't very interesting. Let's say, we'll do this. Okay. I got a Spidops EX PSA 10 from Scarlet Violet base. I like this card, right? And a lot of, hyper Pokemon fans will like this card as well. I think this is cool. Not the most popular Pokemon, not the coolest card in the world. So I would consider this not liquid, though it is a 10. So if you go over to eBay and see how many of these are selling, it's not going to be much. Yeah, see, we're seeing sales in August. Yeah, okay, let's double check here. Yeah. We're seeing sales in August. There hasn't even been one sold in almost a full month on eBay at $40, right? And this is a PSA 10. There was some that sold for 50, and like I would say this card is valued around 40 to $50. Though I'm sure the pop is pretty high. The raw card of this is only about $5. So I would consider this not a very liquid card. On top of that, if you look at the 9, okay, we have the 9 selling a little bit more, but not until July. So, I mean, yeah, this is a much lower card, but the point still stands, right? A much lower end card. But the liquidity of it is just not great. So even if you get a 10 on this card, it's just not going to sell that well on eBay. This is something that I would only do a buy now, or this is something that you would want to, potentially trade in at a card shop or a vendor. And I don't typically recommend it because 85% on eBay, it's gonna go for the market price. Now, if you can trade it towards something that you'd like, and you don't have to ever change over the cash, sometimes it makes it a little bit easier. So you can utilize that if you go to a card show, use stuff as trade bait to add. It's really just a $50 bill in your hand. So kind of treat it as such. If you're only gonna get 80%, that's not horrible. You're gonna get $40. If you sold the 10 for 45, you're actually gonna get more. say it does go on auction for 45 on eBay, it's actually going to be more money if you just got, if we evaluated it at the market and took 80% of that, because that would be $40. So I know a lot of people get mad at like vendors buying at that rate and stuff like that, but again, they're taking the risk on a not so liquid card. This is, I think this is a pretty solid example of what I'm trying to hammer home here. The number one tip I can give you though is really what it comes down to is being realistic with your pricing. So when you need to see what the pricing of a card is, look it up on eBay and look at these sold listings. Any single card is there. Let's look at this Scizor from Hidden Fates. Okay, you need to be realistic with your pricing. Just because the most recent sale is at 155 doesn't mean the card is worth 155, okay? There's something that you need to take into account. Look at where the cheapest listings are up at, right? There's one here in a different country at 144. There's one at 165. There's one at 150 right here. You know what I mean? They're already cheaper. So that doesn't mean necessarily that you need to get the top tier deal of every single card that you own. Acting like that is not going to help you grow your brand and your business and make a lot of sales. The idea that you want to approach it with is, hey, you don't need to, maybe you want to sell, maybe you set the market price at 135, right? It's just a more realistic price. If we're looking at these are 130, even this is back in February. I don't know why eBay does that. It's really annoying. But I mean, this one sold for 100 not even a month ago, 2 weeks ago, basically. You know, and you would much rather have 130 than a 100, correct? Like that's the way that you need to approach this thing. Don't try to get everyone to pay the top tier market price for every single card that you get back from PSA. Work with people, and that's the best way to make sales. I would probably list this up on Instagram for 130. That's what I would say. Just because there's not, the cheapest one up is 150. So people go look at that. They'd be spending, 170-ish with tax and shipping if they wanted to get this card right now. But you want to be the cheapest on the market. You don't want to sit there and try to, get the top tier, unless it's like a super rare card, that it's a super low pop card, that there is times and places for that. You know what I mean? You know what you have. But a card like this, there's hundreds of these out there. I don't know what the pop is off the top of my head. You don't need to sit there and try to, get every single cent out of it, because in the long run, it'll be better for you to just turn this over for 130, take 85% of that, whatever that is. We'll just say 130 times 0.85. Take your $110 and go turn that over. Odds are you made $50-$60 on this card if you bought it raw and graded it. Let's go turn that over and go get another 2 plays, another $100 play, and grade that and then sell that. Just keep turning it over and keep making your money that way. It's better to do that than to sit there and nickel and dime people. So there is situations when you buy cards, singles, that when you bring them home and you look at them in the right light, you're like, I probably shouldn't have bought that, right? I think the best place to sell singles and that are still near mint, that maybe just don't get the 10, is Whatnot. Obviously you have to make sure that you're transparent with that. Don't be a dickhead and try to get over on people. Just be honest. It's better in the long run. Continually building a brand over and over and over again, and continually being a thoughtful and truth-telling person is going to help you more than making that $20 extra or whatever it is. So I've done this a good amount. I have 6,400 people on Whatnot. I did this for years prior to all this YouTube stuff. But the main thing is if you are approved live seller, it's not always the best way, but if you need to turn over, a lot of singles, if you have 50 that you want to get through, this is a really good place to do that. eBay isn't great for singles. eBay honestly isn't really good for anything under like $40-$50. I really wouldn't touch it for that. Instagram is pretty good if you have the right community, if you build that, but Whatnot's really good for cheaper stuff. You don't have to worry about it. You could start it for $1 and just cut your losses and move on. And you can turn over a lot of stuff in just an hour. You can do it really quickly. So if you are familiar with Whatnot, that is a really good resource to sell singles or even cheaper slabs. So the other option is you can send your PSA submissions to eBay as well. Now also, as of recent, PSA is doing offers on PSA cards. So they're generally pretty fair on some, and some are just completely out of the water. What I recommend you do is if you are looking at your cards through here, this is a submission that I actually was testing. I have another one that's actually ready. I don't want to accept any of the offers right now because I want to do a video on this one because I had some special stuff. But in this one specifically, I did sell one card. This Sylveon from Generations ended up getting a 6. I thought it was going to get an 8 or a 9. I got the card for an absolute steal, so I sent it anyways. But the 6 price, I believe they offered me 92 something. And if we go look at what a PSA 6 Sylveon from Generations is, it was actually a really good price. We see the 8s around 200. And I just didn't want to worry about the ambiguity of it. There was no really sales data from a 6. Like, what? Okay, maybe there was. So August 30th, it went for $104. Actually, there was another one about 100. So $92 was a great deal for me because I would have gotten $80 off eBay on that, and I didn't. I just chucked it. I was like, yeah, cool, this is sick. And the other benefit of that was the money was deposited in my account before this even shipped back to me. So it was actually pretty cool. So you have that option when you get your submissions back at PSA. It's really easy. I recommend going on your desktop app and doing it as opposed to on your phone. For some reason, there's like a network error that keeps happening on the phone. But if you go on here, it'll have an offer right here, and it'll say the number. Please comp it beforehand because this Latias that unfortunately got a 9, they offered me 97 for, and that card is just obviously not $97. We'll take a look at what, yeah, so 170, 150, 200. Oh, that was March. Never mind. Yeah, 165. You're not selling it for that. So just keep that in mind. Don't do your research before you do it. But it is a very quick way to get paid out. And it seems to be pretty fair, and it seems like it's getting better. The other option is you can send it to eBay and basically go on auction on something that, like one of these, like this was an auction from PSA. They'll list it for you. Typically, you don't see a... I gotta click on original listing. Typically, you don't see these go for a super high premium, but it does give you some good PSA data here. It gives you the pop on stuff. Oh, there's a lot of 9s in this card, but it's something that you can possibly do. If you don't really have the eBay following, it is an option that you can outsource this. So when that happens, when you get your submission back and you view the grades, you do your reveal if that's what you want to do, there will be an option under here that says sell on eBay or send to PSA Vault. You can click sell on eBay, and then you'll have to link your PSA account with Stripe, and so they can pay you out. And you can set whatever price you want. You could set this Latias to $1 million if you wanted to. Obviously, it won't sell for that, but you can set your price. You can start it. Every time I've done it with PSA, I just started at 99 cents. They're getting more visibility than my personal eBay account. So I did test it. I haven't really done it that way. I'd rather sell my stuff myself. But it is an option for you. But the PSA offers is definitely something that's on the come up. So keep an eye out for that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope that helps you get an idea of how to sell your cards, specifically on eBay and all these other platforms. There is a strategy to it, but keep building your brand and keep doing the right thing. If you need help, message me on Instagram. Who knows? Maybe I'll buy it from you. You never know, depending on the card. And please join the Discord down below. It'll be in the description. We're starting to build a really solid community in there. People helping each other grade cards, helping stuff move on the market, and all of that stuff. So if you have any questions, drop a comment. Please like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.
I'm the MVP. Now I feel like Russell. Feel like John Morant.